interview there, we were talking about a recent terrorism attack for South Africa issued by the British government. They essentially put out a travel alert which was updated on the 4th of January 2024 and is still in place. They're saying the UK's Foreign Office is warning its citizens about a very likelihood of terrorist attack that might be carried out in South Africa. The main threat is from individuals who may have been inspired by terrorist groups, including Daesh, who may carry out lone act. In crowded places. So we chatted to Willem Els a bit about that. He's from the Institute of Security Studies. But we're going to move on from our shores, and then we're going to head out to India, the world's biggest democracy. Their voting is starting today. If you would understand just how big India's elections are, well, they kind of make ours look a bit minuscule. We're going to vote on the 29th of May there, but India is starting today, and it's a very, very colossal, project there. I mean, 1.4 billion people are eligible to vote. And the election is conducted in 7 phases across different states over nearly 6 weeks. Ours is like 3 or 4 days and then we finished. So we're going to be chatting to Shaik Zakeer Hussain. He's with the Cognate. He's out in Bangalore in India, if I'm not mistaken. And he's joining us just to give us a bit of information on our BRICS friends about how their elections are going. Shaik Zakeer, welcome, salam. Thank you so much for joining us here on Salam Media, and welcome.
Walaikum assalam. Thank you so much for having me.
First and foremost, elections in India, they're kicking off today. I'm sure, it's just a hype and buzz of activity. If you can just give us, a lay of the land, paint a picture for us about how things are currently looking in the subcontinent.
Sure. There are 969 million people who would be going out for voting. That's the number of people who have registered for voting this year. And the election, it's massive. It's humongous. It's the largest elections that that will be taking place anywhere in the world. So this will be phased out in 7 different phases, starting today. That's the April 19th, and the elections will and it will have 7 phases, like I said. Today we have people in 21 different states of India who will be voting, and this will and the election results will be out on June 4th. The last date of election will be June 1st. So from April 19th to June 1st is when Indians go for elections. This is like you rightly mentioned, it's the largest democracy in the world, largest spectacle of elections. So there is a lot going on.
I wanted to touch a bit about, numbers. Are Indians, excited to vote? Are more people registered to vote? Because, because we're also going into the elections on the 29th of May this year.
Right.
And, the trends in South Africa, they fluctuate a bit. You get some election years where there's a bit of voter apathy. People don't want to go out. They don't want to vote because of, the despondency,
Right.
and, the negative connotations they have on the government. And they think the only way of punishing the government in chair is by not voting. Is it the same in
Right.
India, or are Indians excited to vote? They registered in their numbers.
Right. There are 2 set of people in India currently. One who want to see the Modi government, the BJP government, in power. So they will go out to keep Mr. Modi in power. These are people who love Modi, who adore Modi, who love the ideology that he represents, and also some of his achievements, mostly because of the ideology and the kind of image that Modi has. Modi's image has been cultivated over the years. So that's the people who will go out forward. And then there's there are other people who do not want BJP to come back to power for the 3rd term. And these are people who have huge things on stake. They do not want another term for the BJP government. So there's a lot of enthusiasm. There's a lot of fear among these people. There's a lot of things that they have at stakes. So we have 2 different sets of people voting for 2 different reasons. But we do have people who will be voting. There is very we have very less people who will say that we do not want to vote. Nothing is going to change. So that's the situation this time.
Mm. You touched on the parties, obviously, the BJP, the current sitting government, and you also have the Congress Party, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Looking at the two parties, how contrasting are they? Because the news that we're getting is that the Congress Party in itself has also been marred in their own scandals before they're even in government. The issues of corruption and you know party instability within themselves. And then now you have the
Right.
Modi government, which firstly, you mentioned that a lot of Indians are saying, they don't want to see that third term. Maybe before we get into the two parties, we can first unpack why is that? Why are Indians so fearful of Modi getting his third term in government when in this side of the pond, we think Indians love him and they adore him and he's this incredible leader.
Well, like I said, there are two different sets of people, right? There's a large number of Indians who love and adore Modi. They love for the fact and that's the reason why he's been, elected for the past two terms, and most likely to be elected for the third time this time as well. There's no doubt about it. Most opinion polls say that Modi and his BJP government party is going to come back to power. Now, how many vote share would they get? That's the question. That's the question where people differ. But everybody is sure that this government is going to come back to power. So that's one thing. So it's obviously there are a lot of Indians who love him, who adore him, who revere him. Not just love him or adore him; they revere him as
Mm,
as a almost like a deification of Modi, right? So that's the thing. So coming to the people who do not like Modi, who do not want to see him or his party to come back to power. Let's talk about them. There's definitely a large number of Indian population as well who do not want him to come back to power, and there are various reasons for this. Of course, the opposition parties do not want him to come back to power. Over the past two terms that the Modi government is in power, they've used every institution in the country, including the media, to go against the opposition parties. They have launched scathing campaigns against many political leaders. They put them behind bar on charges of corruption, sometimes controversial corruptions that has still not been come allegations that have still not been proven in many cases. Right, so there is a fear among opposition that if the Modi government comes back to power, they would. There are a lot of people who would say that they would not be elections anymore in this country.
mm,
So that's one fear. I mean, a lot of opposition fear that they will be totally crushed once the BJP party comes back to power. So that's one thing. There's a lot of civil rights activists. Who do not want the Modi government to come back to power, because in the past two terms that the government is in power, the media, the press freedom in this country has been crushed. A lot. I mean, there's. I mean, everybody knows that much of the mainstream media works in tandem with the government. I mean, they've been brought in by the government, and the independent media or the media houses which are not in tandem with the government, they have been crushed. They have been crushed. They have been the agencies have been used to crush these voices. So there is fear for freedom of speech and expression. That's one thing. There is, of course, the Muslim population,
mm,
whose rights have been crushed. There have been many instances of riots that have taken place across the country. There have been many instances of violence, usually unleashed by organizations, by right-wing organization, which have links with the ruling BJP government. And there are also many of the policies which has been seen as discriminatory against the Muslim community. And there have been a lot and of course there are a lot of other policies that the government says that it will bring into law once it comes back to power again. So there are different stakeholders, there are different set of people who have their reasons why they do not want to see the Modi government come back to power for the third time.
And then you also have the Congress Party out in India. Can you give us a bit of a breakdown of what they are all about, and what are their chances of I don't know, getting a few states
Right.
in the upcoming elections? Because as you said, it almost feels like it's going to be a whitewash for Modi. But what about the Congress Party? What do they represent, and what are the populists of India saying about them?
Right. The Congress Party, of course, is the oldest party in the country. The BJP has been, came into existence in the 1980s. It had a different name much before that, but usually in the 1980s when it came to power. So, till then, it was Congress across India, which was ruling, except for a few terms, one or two terms where a different party was in power. Otherwise, Congress has ruled India, has been in power in India since its independence. So it's a grand old party. It's of course spread across the country, but for the past two terms, it has not been in power. It's seen as it's seen a party which is weak, has a lot of internal issues. It's seen as a party run by a particular family which has been in power since independence. The BJP, on the other hand, has been seen as a party which gives chances which gives chances to the common people. The BJP is seen as a party which has an ideology, which is the Hindutva ideology, and the BJP's allegation against the Congress party is that it favors the Muslim community.
Mm,
And that's how the Congress party has been portrayed, which is of course not true. The Muslim community, if anybody knows about the situation, the economic, the social political situation of the Muslim community, it is bleak. I mean, it's been really bad ever since independence. So despite Congress party being in power, it's nothing much has been changed. So the allegations laid out against it that it favors the Muslim community is of course it's unfound, and it's a political gimmick played by the BJP. So that's about the Congress party. Congress party is largely seen as a secular party which stands for the secular democratic values of the constitution. BJP, on the other hand, is seen as a party which wants to create this Hindu nation, which wants to show that the country only belongs to one particular community. So that's the difference between these two parties. Now, coming to its, what would about the elections, most opinion polls, again, like I told you earlier, have said that the Modi government will be coming back to power again.
mm,
What we need to see is how much how many seats will it bag. The last time the Modi government had bagged 303 seats, the BJP party alone, it has an alliance of course, but the BJP party alone had bagged 303 seats. This time, it wants to bag more than 350 seats. That's what the projections are also saying. So some projection even says that they might be even having 399
oh,
seat. The majority. Right. The Congress, on the other hand, some of the opinion polls have said that it could be anywhere between 38 to 40 seats. So for some even say that it might even go beyond 50 seats. That's Congress alone. So for most opinion, there's no opinion poll which has said that the Congress will touch will come in majority. So it's a bleak situation for the opposition. So we got to wait and watch how it will turn out. But like I
mm.
said, it is for sure that the Modi government will be coming back for the third term again.
And I want to touch a bit about election transparency. I'm sure
Right.
you mentioned other people mentioning the fact that if the BJP does come back for the third term, there are fears that there might not even be elections in India anymore, and it's going to be a sole party ran democracy, if
Right.
you will. In the past, two terms for the BJP and Modi, what trends have you seen when it comes to transparency with the elections, interactions with the media? Do you trust that these elections will be free and fair as they should in any democracy?
The first thing about will there be elections? I mean, of course, there are a lot of fear among different sets of people who do not want to see Modi back in power. That if he comes back again, there is a fear. There are rumors that there would be no election. Of course, that's not going to happen. There will be election. India is is the fastest growing economy in the world. You have the Fortune 5. I mean, some of the largest, the biggest companies in the world. The CEOs of these companies are Indians. The Modi government has Modi or the BJP government has no intention of not conducting elections. They would want to show the world that India is and will remain a democracy. Now, what kind of democracy? That's a different question. But of course, they would want it to be that way. It could also be a Hindu majority democracy. It could also be a various form of it, but it will continue to be democracy. There will be elections. Now, how free and fair? Again, that's a question. Now, for the past two terms since the government has, I mean, Modi government has been in power, there are a lot of allegations by the opposition parties, by civic organizations that the elections are in India is not conducted through ballot paper. It's conducted through EVM machines, the ballot machines. So now there are allegations that the machines can be tampered, and the opposition have said time and again that in the past as well these machines have been tampered, which has helped Modi to gain seats, which has helped the government, the party in power, to get extra votes. But these allegations have remained just that, allegations. There's nothing that has been proven yet. There's no so it remains to be allegation. Right, as we speak today, right now, the case of whether the election should be conducted through these EVM machines or it should be conducted through ballot paper is that case is being heard in the Supreme Court of India. But I'm sure
Mm,
that nothing would come out of it because the elections have already started the first phase. So there's nothing that's going to change. The EVMs will remain, and that's how the elections will be conducted. And there are also that's that. So these are allegations. Now there are also allegations that the government owns much of the mainstream media in the country. Most of the media organization, whether it's television channels or newspapers, most of them are political, are aligned with the Modi, with the BJP, with what it represents, and it's usually biased towards the government, and it's biased against the opposition. Now these allegations, no, these are and it's for a large extent it is true that I mean, the way anybody who has seen how the mainstream media works in India, every can tell that yes, it does talks in favor of the Modi government. It does talks in favor of the BJP, and against the opposition parties. And this has worked, in favor of the government, because when you have much of the mainstream media talking in favor of the government, obviously it can change the mindset of the people. So and when you have mainstream media which never questions any of the policies of the government, despite for very large scale allegations, it shows the kind of situation that we are living in. It shows the kind of free press that exists in the country. So this is how it's working. I mean, and there is, of course, there are a lot of governmental agencies which the Modi government has weaponized and used against the opposition parties, in arresting them, in maiming them, in silencing them. So this is how democracy has been twisted in the country currently. To sum it up, of course there will be elections.
mm,
Of course, there will be opposition parties. But how far will, I mean, how, I mean, but the details lie in how the government is using these democratic institutions to turn the tables in their favor. So that's what is going on in the country,
mm.
and that's
And
how
just
it will remain then.
And just lastly, before I let you go there, I want us to touch a bit on political tolerance. Usually when there are elections, you'll find, areas where, it's really volatile. People of the different parties sometimes may engage in some forms of violence. Is that the case also in India, where there's a lot of political intolerance between maybe, the people that, with the Congress party and the BJP? How does that look like?
Well, when it comes to political violence, India. I mean, there's so many states. There are multiple parties ruling in multiple states, and yes, elections in the past we have seen incidents of violence, and these incidents of violence have been committed from all the sides. It's not just one particular party; it's different parties indulge in rioting, arsoning. We have seen this before. The elections have just started now, so we still do not have reports of, if there has been any incidents of violence. I don't think so. There has been any incidents of violence so far, but like I said, it's 7 phases of elections starting from today till June 1st. I'm sure there would be some sort of violence that would happen because that's been the case in all the elections. And like I said, it's not just one political party. Almost every party indulges in some kind of violence. So it's very much part of how elections happens in India.
No, I think we're going to leave it there, Sheikh Zakeer
Well,
Hussain. You painted a very, very, very interesting picture for us here in South Africa to kind of understand and visualize how the elections are looking like. Wishing you all the best. India is a very good friend of South Africa, and we hope you come out of this, relieved and happy that the democratic process has taken shape. But I'm sure we'll catch up with you again once the results have came out, and just to give us insight on how everyone is feeling the subcontinent of India. But we're going to leave it here for now.
sure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you. Bye bye.
Shaik Zakeer Hussain, the editor of the Cognate, just giving us insight, painting a picture for us about what India is currently looking like when it comes to elections. The world's biggest democracy, that is. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, eyes back on South Africa. We're also going to the elections on the 29th of May. I hope you're registered and you're also going to be voting. Ours might not be the world's largest democracy elections, but it's very, very important. With some saying these elections, most probably the most important since 1994, which might be true looking at how things are. But what's really interesting about this year's elections is the fact that we have independent candidates. You have people, saying, for the first time since 1994, you don't really need a party. You could just decide by yourself that, you know what, I feel like I can do this by myself. I feel like I don't need to belong to any color, to any badge, to any song or group of people that might be wearing red, yellow, blue, green. No, I'm going through this by myself, and one of those people doing that is independent candidate Anele Mda. Will be chatting to us a bit about her vision and what got her into politics, and also going into the upcoming elections as an independent candidate and not joining an array of the political parties that are registered with the IEC, more than 300, but she chose to go into it alone. So more after this with independent candidate Anele Mda, who'll be joining us as we throw eyes into our elections, our upcoming elections here in South Africa on the 29th of May.